Hello everyone, my name is Ajmedin and today we are going to cover up the second part of MCQ multiple choice question for May 2019 and onwards examination. And before in this video, in the first part I have covered up around 20 questions, and here also I am going to cover up the different questions which were given in the new course. So apart from that 20, these questions should be also covered up to have the entire look on the MCQs issued by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. So without wasting any time, let us begin with it. Number one is, which of the following is fund based advance? So term loan, cash credit, demand loans, all of the above are the examples of fund based advances. So option D is the correct answer. Fund based advance, term loan, cash credit, demand loans. Next is, which of the following is not a classification of non-performing asset? Whenever the bank they classify their assets, and they needs to show non-performing assets as well, so they classify in substandards, doubtful, loss asset, but they do not classify in impaired. So impaired is the correct answer here. Next, it comes to, auditor shall express dash opinion when he has collected all the sufficient and appropriate audit evidence and he concludes that there is a misstatement which is material in nature and also pervasive to the financial statement. So he needs to issue an adverse opinion, and if either of them, material but not pervasive, or not material but pervasive, so qualified, and if he cannot able to collect sufficient appropriate audit evidence, so he needs to give disclaimer. But in this case, both material and pervasive, so adverse needs to be given. Next, it is the quality control, SQC1, quality control of the firms that performs audits and review historical financial information and other assurance related services, requires to establish policies and procedure for timely completion of assembly of audit files. After audit report, you need to compile all the audit workings, all the audit documentation into a single file, audit file, and the ordinary time should not be more than 60 days after the date of completion of the auditor's report. And the changes may be, however, can be done in the audit documentation during final assembly process. It is just an administrative process, so it does not involve any performance of new audit or a process or drawing a new conclusion. We have already discussed this thing in the previous video. Next is come to SQC1 again, and it requires firm to establish policies and procedure for the retention of engagement documentation. The retention period for audit engagement ordinary is not shorter than 7 years from the date of auditor's report or later of the group's auditor's report, and after the assembly of final audit file which is completed, and the auditor shall not delete or discard any of the documentation of any nature before the end of retention period. Next, it comes to type of threat, and generally self-interest threat which occurs when the auditing firm or its partner or associate could be benefit from the financial interest of the audit clients, which includes direct financial interest or materially significant indirect financial interest in the client, or loans or guarantee to the to or from the concerned clients, undue dependence on the client's fees, or hence concern about losing engagement, close business relationship with the audit clients, potential employment with the client, or contingent fees for the audit engagement. These all things leads to self-interest threat, and therefore in this question, loans or guarantee to or from concerned clients is an example of self-interest threats. Next is come to when an auditor deals with shares or securities of the audited company is an example of what? It is example of advocacy threat, and advocacy threat which occurs when the auditor promotes or promotes its client's opinion to the point where people can be believed objectivity is getting compromised. Example, when auditor deals with the shares or security of the audited company or becomes a client's advocate in litigation and third party disputes. So this is advocacy threat. And next we comes to this one, if law or regulation prescribes any sufficient detail about the terms of audit engagement, then auditor need not to record them in the writing, except for the fact that law and regulation applies to the entity, and management acknowledge and understand their responsibility. Apart from that, if law specifically write down in detail about the terms and audit engagement, the auditor need not to record them in writing, but he needs to have an acknowledgement from the client, from the management, that they understand their responsibility, they understand that such law and regulation persist. Next, it is audit plan after audit. Overall audit strategy. Once the overall audit strategy has been established, then audit plan can be developed to address the various matters identified in overall audit strategy, to have to achieve the audit objective in an efficient way, with the efficiently using the auditor's resource. So audit plan would be the correct answer in this case. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed it, you learned, and you can share your queries and watch more MCQs videos. The links are here. Thank you.